powerful tool for professional growth and improvement in education. Thus, it is important that we maintain such practice to continuously improve ourselves as teachers. Today, we gather to reflect on our teaching practices, share insights, and learn from each other's experiences. Reflective seminars like this provide us with an invaluable opportunity to pause, evaluate, and refine our approaches to teaching. Let us begin today's seminar with a dua recitation by Ishaq bin Jawahudi. Please step forward and lead us in the dua recitation.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Oh Allah, we gather in gratitude for this teaching practice reflection seminar. Grant us your guidance and blessing and make this gathering successful and beneficial. May this seminar be a source of enlightenment and inspiration where we deepen our skills and commitment to education. Illuminate our hearts with knowledge and your guidance. Guide us with your mercy throughout this day, strengthening our unity and mutual respect toward each other. Grant us the courage to apply what we learn, making a positive impact in our classroom and communities. Bless our effort with success and fulfillment as we strive to serve with excellence and compassion. Sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. Kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim fil alamin. إنك حميد مجيد.
Amin, Amin, Ya Rabbal Alamin. Ladies and gentlemen, our agenda today is straightforward yet profound. Each of us will have a chance to speak of the events that has shaped our LM1 experience, the lessons we have learned from them, and how these events have altered our views and principles as future educators. But before we dive into our seminar, I would like to invite Dr. Maria Shuhong binti Abdullah, our lecturer in KPR 3012 Reflective Seminar, to come forward onto the podium and relay her words of wisdom. Okay.
Hi everyone. Good morning. Thank you all for being here today for this seminar, and we are looking forward to see how the sharing of your reflection is going to be, and hope that it will benefit you and benefit the audience as well. So good luck everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Maria, for such profound advice. Ladies and gentlemen, our discussion today will tackle the many facets of education. But for today's seminar, we have divided it into 10 specific subtopics. Each subtopic will be presented by one group for 10 minutes. And another 5 minutes are allocated for Q&A session after each presentation, to give a chance for the audience to seek deeper insight if one so wishes. Now, without further ado, let us welcome the first group of the day, group number 3, with their topic, Empowering Educators, Pre-Service Teachers' Perspective on Classroom Management.
Alright, we start? Okay. Assalamualaikum and greetings to Dr. Maria and our fellow pre-series teachers. So it is our great pleasure to welcome you to today's seminar with the title Empowering Educators, Pre-series Teacher Perspective on Classroom Management. So today we have a few panelists who are going to share their experiences, insights and strategies with us today. So first we have me, myself, Shafinas, who used to teach at SMK Teluk Air Tawar, and next we have Miss Monisha, who used to teach at SMK Kepala Batas, and then we have Miss Ale, who used to teach at MRSM Kuala Krai, and finally we have Miss Stephanie, who used to teach at SMK Lunas. So let's start our discussion with the first panelist, which is Miss Stephanie. The floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Today, I will share several effective classroom management approaches that I implemented during my teaching practice. One of the key approaches that I applied was creating a clear rules and routine. So, at the beginning of the first week, I set specific rules for the students, such as having their textbooks and workbook prepared on the table before the lesson begins. And I also ask them to raise their hands if they have any question or want to interrupt during the lesson. I also introduced a simple routine that I call it clap clap to calm down the class when it gets noisy. This becomes a signal for the student to stay focused on the lesson. Another effective classroom management approach that I also employed was using timers to keep the student on track. I utilize timer during group and pair work activity. This enables students to keep on track of the remaining time for the activity, as well as motivate them to work within the time limit. Last but not least, building positive relationship with students was crucial for creating a better classroom management. Just as after the student completing the work very well, I will reward them with candy. I also wrote positive comments and place sticker on the workbook to encourage continued effort among the students. This approach not only make the student feel value, but also to recognize their hard work. Thank you for your attention. So I hope this sharing might be useful for you for your upcoming teaching practice.
All right, thank you, Ms. Stephanie, for the great introduction. Now, to continue our discussion, I will explain about the classroom management. So, the significance of classroom management. So, first, classroom management is play a crucial role in fostering the student behavioral development. So, we all know that setting clear expectation and have a consistent goal is very important because it can teach the students about self-disciplines and respect for others. So, for instance, during my practicum, I use a lot of point system during my class where students can earn rewards by following a certain classroom rules. So this ended up motivated them more and create a positive classroom environment. Secondly, effective classroom management also play a crucial role in ensuring the efficient use of instructional time. So we all know that disruption can hinder the learning process. Thus, establishing a specific routine is very important. So, for instance, during in my classroom, I also implemented the specific Q&A sessions at the end of the lesson or any main activities. So, by doing this, I can address the students' questions and clear up any confusions without interrupting the lesson flow. So this method helped the student to stay more focused and help them by knowing the fact that they can ask the questions later. So last but not least, a well-managed classroom also can help and useful for teachers and students because it will be less stressful for them. And by knowing an effective strategies to handle or avoid disruptions, we can focus more on delivering a high quality lesson instead of worrying about losing control in the classroom. And then this, of course, will make the student feel safer, motivated, and even willing to participate and take any academic risk. So that is all from me. Next, Ms. Alia, can you share your input about the importance of classroom management?
Good morning, everyone. Today I want to emphasize on the importance of classroom management. So in a well-organized classroom, students would know the routines, they would know the rules, right? Yeah. So this structure helps them feel focused and secure. Now, for instance, if you look at the first picture, I had my students to come up to the front and leave constructive feedbacks on each other's work. Now, this, and yes, I made sure that it was constructive. So this organized activity actually helps encourage learning and their growth. Now, next. When students feel respected and secure, they are more likely to participate. Now, picture a classroom, a positive classroom environment that boosts confidence and actually pushes them to want to participate in the activity that is being held in the lesson that day. And then take a look at my class photo. Based on your opinion, when you look at my class photo, do you think that I have a strong relationship with my students? Yes. Because yes, we do. This kind of strong relationship does not just come out of nowhere. We actually have to build it and with consistent and fair management. So all in all, a good classroom management can ensure that every student is ready to learn and their growth is facilitated. So, as the saying goes, teamwork makes the dream work. Thank you for listening.
So thank you, Ms. Alia, for emphasizing the importance of classroom management. Now, finally, our panelist, Ms. Monisha, will explain more about the common challenges often faced by educators.
Okay, hi, good morning everyone. So today I'm eager to discuss about the common challenges in classroom management from my perspective as a digital teacher. So one of the hardest things that I ever had to do is establishing authority in the classroom. So there was a few times during my teaching practicum I struggled to stay focused and stay in control because there will be a group of students constantly talk over me. So it was a bit difficult to take charge without annoying them or making the situation worse. So next is time management. So time management is crucial and it can also be challenging. So balancing lesson planning, grading, and assessing individual student need can be a little overwhelming for us teachers, right?
Yes.
So yeah. So I recall a week where my school had a sudden event where it disrupted my schedule where I had to plan my task on the spot while also ensuring that I followed the curriculum. So next is adapting teaching to meet various learning styles. So I have had students with different interests and abilities. So tailoring my lessons to and ensure that every student engaged in class requires constant adjustment and experimentation. So it was rewarding when um, I found strategies that resonated with each of my students, but it definitely took a lot of time and also effort. So these challenges are not just theoretical, but we had navigated in our real life experience, which I believe is what shaped us as an educator. So it is my goal for my classroom to be a fun and an engaging learning environment for my students. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Monisha, for the great input. So now let's take a quick moment for a Q&A sessions. I hope everyone here can participate. So if anyone have any questions or would like to share your experience, please feel free to raise your hands and ask the questions. Yes, out there.
Alright, I have a question. You mentioned a variety of challenges that you faced during your LM, right? So can you share with us what are the effective solutions that you implement when you face these challenges?
Alright, so let me restate the question back. So basically, she's asking that, Miss Monisha mentioned a lot of challenges. So was there any like effective solution that we actually implemented in our classroom? So can any of the panelists answer the question?
So for one of the challenges I faced, as I said, I had trouble staying in authority. So what I did was during my first 2-3 weeks of my class, I made sure that I set some ground rules. So which is like when I am talking, no one interrupts me, but they can talk when I'm not talking. That's one ground rule that I set. So any other panelists would like to share their solution?
So I guess from my side, talking from my experience, I believe I think implemented a gaming element is actually works well in my cases because at first it probably quite a hassle to know how to manage the students, the classroom management. But once you set the rules and the students know how to obey to the rules, because of course we will need to come with rewards as well because it will be more effective like that. So I'm pretty sure everyone here give rewards to your students, right?
Yes.
So that is very needed in classroom these days. So I think implementing those gaming elements would actually work in handling the classroom management. And I hope our opinion actually answer your questions. So is there any other questions that anyone would like to ask? All right. Is it okay if we ask the questions to you guys?
Oh yeah, sure.
All right. So, can any of you here share any classroom situation that was improved by a good classroom management strategies that you actually implemented in your class? Besides, yes, Fatin.
Okay. You know how in the classroom we always want to do like group presentations and such, but
Yes.
one of the methods that I noticed that saves time as well and manage the classroom movements easily is using gallery walk, because at the same time all students are able to present their group work, and at the same time the movement is clear. For example, this group moves to another, another to another. So I think this is one of the ways that teachers can manage the classroom.
Yes, very true. Because actually, those kind of strategies is very helpful because we as a teachers we don't have enough time, even though we have two time periods, but actually that's not enough for us even. So by having those gallery walk, actually is very one of the effective strategies that we can use, and I hope everyone here can implement the effective strategies that we had mentioned from Miss Daphne, Miss Alia, and Miss Monisha, and even Miss Fatin, who just mentioned the new strategies as well. So I hope that is all from our seminar today, and thank you again for your active participation, and I would like to thank the panelists as well for the insightful information. So thank you for being a part of this seminar. Thank you.
Thank you, Group 3, for such meaningful insights. Next, I would like to welcome Group 7 and their topic of the day, Classroom Assessment, Enhancing Learning Through Effective Assessment. Welcome, Group 7.
All right, so good morning and hello everyone. First and foremost, thank you for being here today. And before we begin, we are from Group 7, and we would like to present on an important topic, which is about classroom assessment, entitled "Enhancing Learning to Effective Assessments." So before that, I would like to introduce our amazing panelists for today. We have Isha, and we have Elvira, Shamala,
Hello everyone.
Aina, and myself, Nolin. All right. Hi. Right. So before that, I have a question. So how many of you know how classroom assessments actually work?
Check students' after their grade.
Okay. So anyone else? How many of you? Can you put up your hands maybe? Do you know how classroom assessment actually works? Okay, I assume that some of you do not really know. So without further ado, let's get to know about how classroom assessment, what classroom assessments are and how it actually works. So basically, classroom assessments are tools and methods that teachers use to evaluate their students' learning and measure their academic progress as well. So they also come in many forms, which is from quizzes and tests to projects and observations. So basically, these assessments actually helps the teachers to, you know, get to know where the students are in their learning journey. And but however, it is not easy as many teachers actually faces challenges like not having enough time, and managing a large classroom and addressing diverse needs of each student. So, actually, by using various assessment methods, teacher can actually get a clearer picture of where the students are in their learning journey and to support personalized learning.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and good morning to everyone. Our today objective is to highlight the key issue in classroom assessment and propose a practical solution based on our teaching experiences. So we believe that educators should always keep in mind that assessment should be designed to motivate and engage students, encouraging them to take an active role in their learning and strive for improvement. It is very important to nurture a culture of continuous improvement. Therefore, today we aim to Therefore, today we aim to a recommendation, provide a recommendation to enhance assessment practices and ultimately improve the student learning outcome.
Alright, so during our first teaching practice, we collected data using various methods. Classroom observations, student feedback, reflective journals, and observation checklists. So our aim was to understand assessment practices better. So through classroom observations, we recorded how assessments were implemented and how students responded. We also use observation checklists to ensure we consistently captured specific behaviors, engagement levels, and assessment techniques. We also get reflective journals to uh, to document our experiences and thoughts. So this helped us critically analyze the assessment processes and think about potential improvements. So combining all these methods, uh, it gave us a well-rounded view of a classroom assessment, providing us practical insights and solutions to enhance assessment practices and also improve student learning outcomes.
Alright, so now let's move on to the findings. So as we can see here, there are a few major issues that from traditional classroom assessment that we need to address. So first of all, lack of students' engagement, where they often fail to engage students. So for example, I mean, how many times have we seen students zoning out during class? A lot, right? So this shows that we need to make assessment much more interactive and fun for them. So this is where gamified assessment come in. And another problem is that lack of critical thinking and self-reflection. So traditional assessment usually don't encourage critical thinking and self-reflection among students. So usually students just go through the motion without really evaluating their own work and that of their peers. So when we introduced peer and self assessment to them, it was a game changer where students started to think more deeply of what they are learning and how they are performing, which is very essential for their development. And another problem is that high anxiety and stress level among students, which can cause because of standard tests. So it is quite heartbreaking to see that our students become so stressed out because of the standard test. So here, gamified assessment really help a lot, where it makes the environment more relaxed and assessment process much more less intimidating and more enjoyable for the students. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So now, reflecting back again at the term classroom assessment, and I'm sure that all of us have experienced a classroom assessment sometimes, which lead to anxiety, stress, and I'm sure that it is not always necessary to be very strict and in a rigid way. Do you agree with that? Yes. All right. So with that, reflecting back again our journey during our teaching practicum, there are a lot of several methods that we actually used in during the classroom method assessment methods. And today we are very happy to share these particular two innovation that work really effective in classroom assessment. So the first thing I would like to tell is that using the online tools, gamified tools and platform like Kahoot, Quizzes, and Genially. So how does it work? Basically, the teacher create the questions, and at the end of the lesson, the teacher will actually present to the student, and if they have the facilities and gadget, they will access the particular platform and answer. And if they don't, what do? We go for the printed options. Like if we print out the options and give it to the student in terms of like option stick or something and do it offline. And it's incredible to see how students were so like they were so excited and enthusiastic throughout the process of assessment, even though they know that they are being assessed. So here I will also like to tell that it's not always about technology. So we have also actually used a lot of offline gamified methods with printed materials that work just as well. So it's about that little touch of gamified elements, which we found that it made the students, really enjoy the process of classroom assessment. So the next thing I would like to share is something that we have done during our teaching practicum too, which is the peer and self-assessment. So we encourage the student to do peer, to assess their peers and themselves. And this was really effective in developing the critical thinking and self-reflection skill of students, which we believe that is the very primary objective of classroom assessment. So how does it work? So we had this peer review session where students give constructive feedback on each other's work. I'm sure that we all can relate to the situation. Before we bring out our work to our teachers, we'll ask our friends for the opinion. Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think? Did I achieve whatever the teacher said? Do you agree? Do you do that? All right. So that's how it is the same concept. And the next method is a very simple and effective and a very easy method, which is using exit cards. So by the end of the lesson, the teacher assess the student by using exit cards, like the student jot down what they learned from the lesson, what question they still have on the lesson, or their thoughts on the lesson. So this actually, it make the student to take ownership and also take in charge of their own learning progress, which is very important, so that the student don't do the assessment for the sake of just doing the assessment. Do you agree with the statement? Yes. All right. So overall, planning this innovation and doing it really requires a very careful planning and clear guideline to make sure that it is fair and consistent for everyone. But overall, I would say that it's really rewarding when you try out this innovation in your classroom assessment, which make the whole learning journey and assessment journey very engaging and fun for the students. Yeah.
All right. So to conclude, our findings suggest that effective classroom assessment should be encouraging and should be encouraging in terms of letting the students to take ownership of their learning journey, and we also recommend for a continuous professional development for teachers to equip themselves with the necessary skills. So that is all from us Thank you. And now you may share with us your questions. Yes, Taki.
My question was, what will you suggest to teachers who are new to implementing this innovative assessment method in their classroom, especially in terms of managing potential challenges?
All right. So thank you for your question, Daphne. Allow me to answer the question. So in my opinion, it is actually better to incorporate a mixed methods of digital and offline activities to actually avoid over reliance on technology. Like for instance, maybe if the teacher uses Kahoot or quizzes for a quiz session, maybe they can also prepare a printed version of the quiz as a backup for the students to answer. To just in case of there's any technical issues. All right. So
Can I add on that? Maybe another suggestion is that maybe the teacher can provide a clear instruction to avoid confusion among students. For example, if the teacher use quizzes, maybe the teacher can provide a step-by-step instruction about how to do it and explain the purpose of that assessment so that students know what to do and what to expect from that.
all right. Is there any more questions?
May I ask?
Okay, sure.
Okay. So I would like to ask on your experience, your insight on how your students initially reacted to these assessments that you conducted in your class, and the strategies that you use to help them, and how they benefit from it.
All right. So thank you for your questions, Shekina. So one of my panelists will answer.
All right, so I will love to quickly answer your question. So basically, I think that students learn better every day when they see something. So just show them the demo and show them the step by step. That's all. Thank you. All right, thank you, Group 7, for sharing your valuable experience with us. Next, I welcome Group 6 and their topic today, Encouraging Growth in Cognitive Abilities, Reflective Seminar on Thinking Skills. Welcome.
All right, Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to my fellow classmates. My name is Amatul Afi binti Azizuddin. I'm from Group 6. Now, when it came to my LM1 experience, I've done my LM1 in SMK Bukit Jelutong. Now, when we think about thinking skills, the first thing that snaps into our mind is Bloom's taxonomy. It is a hierarchical model that categorizes thinking skills related to language from the bottom up according to difficulty levels. So it starts with remembering, then an understanding skill, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and finally, the most complex, creating. So, according to the Malaysian education system, we do apply the Bloom's taxonomy, but it's in the form of higher order thinking skills. Now, higher order thinking skills, or HOTS, they can come in many different forms and shapes. For example, they can come in multiple questions or structural questions. However, one thing that we can say is we can apply HOTS question or Bloom's taxonomy as one of your lesson objectives. For example, in my experience, I applied HOT system in a project-based learning activity. So in this activity, my students are tested based on firstly their analytical skills. They are supposed to analyze a media resource and extract specific information as well as how creative they can be when it comes to presenting their findings. Overall, they are also tested in their teamwork because this is a team activity. And there are a few things that I've learned from this. Firstly is a lot of time is actually needed, not just for you to plan, but also for them to prepare their work so that their work is presented in a fashionly manner. But what I can say, despite all of that, is this method works in developing your students' thinking skills. One of the reasons why is for, in my experience, 90% of my students were successful in reaching their learning goals of the day. Now, I would like to move on to the next presenter. Hanisa, how was your experience in applying and practicing thinking skills in your students through your lessons?
Okay, I did my LM1 in SMK Data Abirama Yaakob, and I apply 8-week cooperative learning. So cooperative learning is a learning strategy which the students be in group to achieve the learning objectives. So what I did was I did a dice game where the students will be in groups, and the students need to throw the dice, and the number of the dice will determine their group turns. And to win, the groups must apa tu? Must send out representative, and the most involving representative will win the game. So it involves with group discussion. So what I can see that it promotes teamwork skills between the students and enhance engagement. It also improves their confidence. From what I observe, I can see that some of the students did not engage with the lesson. So I think in the future, I can improve by giving them roles first beforehand, as all of them can work with their work in that group. So in conclusion, I think it's very important to implement cooperative learning as it improves students' thinking skills and also improve their self-confidence because they work together as a group. They feel the sense of belonging. Thank you.
All right, moving on. Let's give it to Ashikin, our next presenter on decision making.
Okay, thank you, moderator. Greetings, everyone. My name is Nura Ashike. I did my previous teaching practice LM1 in SMK Pak Badul Kelantan. Okay, today I'm going to share my teaching experience about the activity I use during my teaching practice is the decision making activity. The decision-making activity that I use is to enhance my students' thinking skills. The objective of this lesson is students are able to explain their decision-making based on the situation, based on the dangerous scenarios that stated in the flashcard. Okay, this lesson is to develop students' critical thinking, communication skills, and their teamwork to improve their thinking skills during engaging games based on the scenarios that I prepare for them. Okay. Okay, this is important because it provides students with to deal with real life situations where they need to respond the different scenarios, enhance their problem skills, and foster teamwork. Okay, this lesson is about, to apply this lesson, students are divided into small groups with 5 members in each group. Then they need to choose different scenarios based on the flashcard that I gave to them. Then they will justify their decision and explain to the class, and they will receive feedback from the class. Okay, the results of this activity demonstrate the majority of the students improve confidence in their thinking skills based on their decision making, not only enhance their thinking skills but also enhance their speaking skills. Okay, to improve this activity, providing language support and multimedia resources also can enhance the activity to improve the activity to be more educational and engaging for them. Okay, this activity was highly effective in achieving my objective of the lesson. Okay, in conclusion, this lesson is vital to enhance thinking skills and provide understanding for them, and also it also improve their speaking skills. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
All right. First of all, I would like to say thank you to our beautiful moderator for today. So, today let's explore into a world of creative thinking using an engaging tool called Story Dice Adventure. So, the the objective of this activity is to enhance your students' creative thinking as well as storytelling skills in creating a unique storyline. So how did I implement this activity? Okay, first of all, Story Dice Adventure involve rolling a set of dice and students will get a random images. So using the random images, students need to work in a group of 4 to 5 people. And then they need to brainstorm and create a unique storyline, unique narrative in a module paper, and then present it in front of the class. After that, towards the end of the class, students need to choose which group have a unique storyline. So after implementing this activity, there's a lot of benefits that I can see that my students can get. For example, creative thinking. So as they involve in this activity, it enhances their critical thinking as well as creative thinking. And next is communication and collaboration. This activity promotes teamwork, thus enhance the vocabulary and in creating a complex sentence structure. So after implementing this activity, I believe that there is a room for improvement, such as using mind map to help our students to connect the idea and the images. So I believe that using this activity definitely help my students improve their creative thinking out of the box, and their language skills. That's all from me. I'll pass the floor to the moderator.
All right. To conclude, basically, despite the fact that all of us had different LM1 experiences, there is one thing in common. We all learned the critical importance of of encouraging thinking skills among your students. One of the reasons why is because we as teachers, we want to foster a culture of critical thinkers and problem solvers, because we want to prepare our students to be ready for the occupational world out there. Not just that, we also want our students to be well-rounded individuals. So that ends our seminar for today. We would like to open the floor for Q&A session. Go on ahead.
I have a question.
Yes, Ari?
Why do you think some students inhibit poor thinking skills?
Why do you think some students inhibit poor thinking skills? In my opinion, we will go one by one with each presenters. In my opinion, I believe that some students have inhibits poor thinking skills because they lack practice. Does any one of you have your students who say they do not use English until it's English class?
Yes.
On average, how long is an English class per day? 1 hour, 30 minutes. And how many classes do we have in a week? And then when they have long holidays, no classes. They don't see a need to use English. They don't see a need to practice English. The lack of practice means they never had a reason to basically try and practice their thinking skills as well. The reason why I relate that is because Bloom's taxonomy is actually very particular to language skills. So until they use English themselves, they cannot start practicing these particular thinking skills. Now, what about you, Hanisa?
I think it's because of the lacking of support from teacher and peers. As what I did before, I implemented cognitive learning. So it's very important for the students to have the moral support from their friends and also teachers, as it encourages them to be more motivated in speaking, and they also will believe themselves because they are from other people supported. I think that's all from me.
Okay, for my opinion, the educational system design also sometimes can contribute to poor thinking skills among students. This is because educational system that use traditional methods such as standardized testing can hinder the interaction between among the students and their thinking skills.
All right, okay, thank you, moderator, speaker one and speaker two. So, in my opinion, I believe that the reason why this situation happened because some students believe that they have a fixed mindset and they have ability that cannot be they do not want to improve their abilities. So they basically refuse or reluctant to a viewpoint of others. So this definitely will affect their critical thinking and also have a good critical thinking skills. That's all from me.
Okay, do we have any more questions from the audience? If there are no questions, I believe we can end our seminar here. Thank you very much, everybody. I'll see you again in the next meeting.
All right, thank you, Group 6, for such an impactful sharing. Next, I welcome Group 5 and their topic, Project-Based Learning, Design, Execution, and Reflection. Please welcome.
Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to Dr. Maria and everyone. So how's everyone doing today? Good? Good? Okay, Alhamdulillah. So welcome to our seminar on project-based learning, design, execution and planning. So I am Nisa binti Lazarudin, the moderator for this session. And please welcome our panelists who will be sharing their experience with us today. First is Miss Anisraya binti Muhammad Kamal, Miss Salina binti Sulaiman, and Miss Siti Nadia binti Hamdan. Hi. So our discussion today will be focused on the implementation of project-based learning, or also known as PBL, which is a teaching method in which students actively engage in meaningful projects and it will be explored through three key stages: the pre-stage, the while stage, and also the post-stage, based on the experience of our panelists from their LM1. So without further ado, let's begin with our first panelist, Ms. Anisraya. Could you please share with us your experience on factors to consider in designing a PBL lesson?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. All right, thank you, Ms. Moderator. So, based on my own teaching practicum experience at Maktab Mahmud Merbuk Kedah, designing a PBL lesson requires a thoughtful planning. So, today I would like to share the key factors to consider in designing a PBL lesson for us teachers. So, the first factor will be the learning objective. I identify the key soft skills that I would like to focus on my students. For example, the communication skills, the critical thinking, and also the problem solving. All right, it is important to align these skills with the overall curriculum goals in order to meet the academic requirements. All right, moving on to the second factor. The second factor will be the project relevance and context. I design tasks that are related or relevant to my students' life, their interests, and also their future careers. All right. I have a question to the audience. Do you think that activities related to real life situation are engaging for the students?
Yes.
Yeah, it's proven that the project will be more engaging and also meaningful. All right.
So in my experience, I designed a cafe review project where the students are required to create a cafe review scrapbook. Okay, this project aimed to teach students on how to write a review and also enhancing their communication skills and also critical thinking skills. All right, by doing so, we as teacher can help our students to develop their essential soft skills in engaging and more meaningful way. All right, I think that's all from me. I would like to pass to Miss Salina. Can you share your thoughts on designing a one-stage PBI lesson?
All right. Thank you, Miss Anis. Assalamualaikum and good morning, everyone. Right. Next, we will dive into the Y stage of PBI lesson, and I will talk about the challenge when the challenge of maintaining the students' participation and engagement throughout the execution of PBI lesson. All right. Before that, I have a question. Do you all ever have a hard time engaging the students with your lesson? Yes. All right. So one of the solution is the teacher need to make sure that the lesson have an emotional connection using the learning resources that have that closely related with the student daily life application. All right. For example, I've done a PBL lesson on the topic of recycling, and I have assigned each group to make a research on different types of recycling, and later on they will have to present their finding through class presentation. And by doing this, I have observed that the students can maintain their motivation and interest because the topic they already have background knowledge on it. All right. Okay. So next is the challenge is for the teacher to making sure that the lesson is an active learning. All right. Okay. In order to have a PBL lesson that have an active learning, we need to take an initiative. The students need to take their own initiative in their own learning. All right. For instance, I have assigned each group with a hands-on class project where they need to go outside and collect recycling materials and then come up with a useful recycling products. All right. This will help the students to have high perseverance and build connected thinking as well. All right. That's all for my part of sharing. Thank you. I will pass to Miss Nadia.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning everyone. So if our previous panel has shared about the challenges that she need to face during the wild stage lesson, then I will share with you about the feedback that I have identified during the post lesson with my Form 2 students at Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Selada Melaka. So based on my proper observation, I found that a PBL lesson has significantly enhanced my students' critical thinking and collaboration skills. For example, I have done one PBL lesson with my students where they need to invent and create a new safety aid kit using a flow map method. They have demonstrated impressive analytical abilities when they can successfully choose and decide which items they need to include in the safety aid kit according to their functions and relevancies. Then this kind of activities also provided me with important has provided me opportunities, good opportunities for my professional development, particularly in upgrading my skills and knowledge in the future project management and facilitation. However, the lesson also highlighted some areas of improvement where I found I have a weakness in delivering instruction to my students until it has led to a little bit confusion among the students during the project completion. Finally, the trait that I need to keep a close watch on is goes on each managing the diverse dynamic group, diverse group dynamics, where the students were actually experiencing issues, where the students were actually experiencing conflicts and dominant issue in terms of English proficiency level. Somehow, the advanced students has overshadowed the low proficiency one until it turns out make them feel left out and cannot grasp the lesson objectives well. This insight have brought me into a clear reflection that shows me how important it is to manage the issues of balanced participation and collaboration during a PBL lesson. So I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you to the panelists. So quickly, I will share my own experience with project-based learning. I've seen firsthand how it improved my students' engagement from being passive to active learners, and it also enhance their teamwork skills and also communication skills. And lastly, because the project usually connects with real life situation, right? So it allows the students to apply their language skills in practical and also everyday context. So to conclude, remember, preparation aligns goals, challenges foster resilience, and analysis informs improvement. Thank you to our panelists for your wonderful sharing, and to audience for engaging in this discussion. Now, let's begin with our Q&A session. If anyone has a question, please raise your hand. Okay, Ms. Nafisa first.
Ms. Moderator, in your closing speech just now, you said challenges foster resilience. Could you please elaborate more on that?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Nafisa. So, when I said challenges foster resilience, I meant that as a teachers, we learn and also improve our teaching skills by facing challenges during our teaching in class, right? So, like Ms. Alina said, she faced several challenges while implementing project-based learning. So, by handling those unexpected situations, it will help us build our resilience and also improve our own teaching skills. Okay, any question there?
I have a question to Ms. Nadia. Just now you said that you have trouble in giving instructions. So how do you attempt to improve the skills in the future?
All right, thank you, Ms. Elvira, for the question. So to improve my delivery instruction in the future as a teacher, I will provide the students with clear and detailed written instruction along with the verbal one. Then I also plan to use visual aids like diagram and videos to deliver a complex instruction to them. I think that's all.
Do we have any more questions? Okay, last maybe.
So I would like to ask a question to Ms. Anis. You mentioned before that real world activities is more meaningful and engaging. So I would like you to explain more about that question.
Alright, in my opinion, I think that real world activities for students are more engaging and exciting because students can connect the lesson to the things that they see every day. So it helps them to understand better as they can see how the lesson applied to their real situation. Alright, I think that's all from me.
Okay, thank you for the questions. Do we still have any other question? No? No? Okay, then that's all from our group. Thank you for participating.
All right, thank you very much, Group 5, for opening our eyes to new perspectives. Next, let us welcome Group 1 and their seminar's topic, Proper Educational Innovation Implementation Dissemination in Schools. Welcome, Group 1.
All right. Thank you to our beautiful and wonderful moderator for today. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. Or is it afternoon? Good afternoon, everyone. So, how are you guys doing? Good? All right. So, as you have heard, today we will be picking on the topic of innovation. So, I wanted to ask, have you done any innovation in your school? Maybe it might be a little project. Have you?
Yes, some no. All right, now let us listen to our amazing panelists for today. All right, my name is Nura Betul Adawiyah binti Muhammad Ramli. I have done my LM1 at SMI Hira. Next, we have Miss Atika, who has done her LM1 at SMK Putri Ampang. Next one, we have Miss Pauline, who had done her LM1 at St. Michael's Institution. And lastly, we have Miss Sandra, who had done her her LM1 at Northern Lights. So now let us begin with our first panelist. So Miss Atika, we would love to hear what kind of innovation have you done, implement, and disseminate in your school?
All right, thank you, Ms. Rabia. So hello and good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so for me, my struggle was actually understanding how deep is the students' vocabulary is in the language. Obviously, with their proficiency, considering that I started school a bit late I started teaching a bit late due to examination. So what I came up with is an activity called Riddle Me This. So for example, when I came, they were just about to jump into chapter extreme sports. So for me, I will put them into pairs and I'll give them an extreme sport. They will have to come up with a riddle and they will have to present it to their classmates. What will their classmates do? Their classmates will have to come up. They will have to figure out what exactly is the extreme sport they are specifically talking about. So how did I disseminate it in school? First of all, by actually implementing it in my class. Second of all, what I have done is I shared my experience and how the students responded to this activity in class with one of the teachers. And she liked the idea. She saw how my students were actually interested in my lesson. So therefore, she decided to also implement this in her class. What about you, Miss Pauline? What is your innovation about this?
Atika's innovative approach focused on creativity, critical thinking, and teamwork deeply resonates with me. Leading comparative expedition Grammar Wanderers has been really rewarding. It is a game where students have to complete multiple challenges to get to the final rank. As for me, students were able to not only learn the grammar rules, but also know how to grasp and apply the knowledge in real-world contexts. This is where the educational innovation takes place, as I use cutting-edge methods to create dynamic learning experiences for my students. Students were also very much interested in all the activities and in the forms of challenges as they showed strong participation and performances. How about you, Miss Sandra? How did you exemplify your educational innovation?
Thank you, Miss Pauline. All right, for me, I would like to ask the audience a question. Have you ever faced a challenge when you were trying to have a listening task in your class? Maybe the students couldn't hear you or they didn't understand. Yes. All right. For me, I would like to introduce to you all this activity called Let Actions Speak Louder, which helped my remedial level for one students with a listening task. So most of them could not understand the task itself, and therefore they couldn't answer the question. So why was this? Because of their weaker language skills. Now, what did I do? I got them to act out the dialogue that already had been simplified by their peers. So words like consume would become eat. So this thing was that the dialogue that had been simplified managed to enable the students to associate words with actions in order to understand the content better in general. And of course, this was a time-consuming process, but I believe I managed to engage their social and cognitive behaviors in terms of learning and then trying out new things. Therefore, I could see that they could at least try to answer the questions after that. Now, because of that, I believe that visualizations and interactions in the class are very important in ensuring that my learners, at least in my experience, manage to improve their language skills. Maybe not in the long term, but through their vocabulary. Now, when we come to asking about simplified actions and actions in the classroom, what do you think about that? What do you think about using that in the classroom? Perhaps we have Miss Rabiatul here to talk about that.
Thank you to Miss Sandra as well as the other amazing panelists, Miss Pauline and Miss Atika. So for my innovation, I actually did two. One is for the students and the other one is for the teachers. The first one is called ESLville. My school, my students are mostly intermediate to advanced level. So, and furthermore, they also provided technological tools in every class. So that is why I had the chance to do multiple of sessions in order to incorporate multiple gamification. So I have noticed from all of my students, they might be very good in listening, reading, as well as writing. But when it comes to conversing with their peers, speaking skills, they are struggling because they tend to memorize rather than understand the input given. So this is why I come up with the ESLville or ESL Pizzeria. So one of the 6 sessions that I did before finalizing the innovation is that I created all of these templates, speaking templates as well as the A3 poster for the students to do. These are the products or the outcome by the students, you could see here. Okay, you can pass and go on. All right. So from there, they would learn pair by pair to actually talk about what kind of recipe did they create. And by the 6th session, I created the finalized version using Roblox, where in that Roblox, I created a simulation video where the students could see what kind of phrases do we use when we order the food, what kind of vocabulary we use when we are trying to converse and trying to order what kind of the pizza that we want. So after they have delved into the gameplay themselves, or I would also show the simulation video. There's 2 options. I did 2 type of tests with 2 classes. One is the video and the other one is the gameplay itself. You can scan the QR code to see the video. That is where the students will see, this is how we converse. And after that, I would ask them to do role play activities, pair by pair. So I could evaluate them, their speaking skills and how they performed using the phrases and vocabulary provided in the simulation of ESLville. And lastly, we have the teacher empowerment project, where I only taught 5 English teachers on how to utilize PowerPoint to create creative and engaging games for their club activities, mainly English club activities. So as you can see, that is me giving a talk to very experienced teachers. I was a bit nervous, but it was fun because one of my mentor teacher, they were at my classroom when she was evaluating me. And then after the class, she was like, what kind of materials did you use? How did you utilize the PowerPoint? So that is how she came up with, okay, let's do a small workshop. I think we need this because the school is very equipped with technological tools. So that is the reason why the workshop was created. And that is all for our presentation for today. Now let us go towards the Q&A session. Any questions? Yes, Harith.
What are the challenges you face when implementing the invention you created?
Okay, thank you, Saharith, for the amazing question. One of the challenges is trying to make sure that the students are adapting to the innovation that I'm creating. So that is the reason why I did 6 sessions, a step-by-step session. Because even though they are equipped with technological tools or like projectors, LCD, as well as microphone, the teachers does not really use the tools themselves. So that is the reason why they need to get adapted to it. And plus, my students are mostly Form 2. So that is the reason. At first, I did like E3 papers, posters, and then slowly I use online gamification. Now let's go towards the next one.
As for my challenge, I agree with you that adaptability is quite something that we need in the classroom, because when I tried to implement my innovation, I found that they were shy, and this caused them to not want to come out. So what I did was try to get to gently nudge them to come to the front to present their points, and then eventually they did. And when they needed help, I gave it to them. All right.
I do agree with Miss Sandra, as I too face problems with time constraints because of integrating exciting yet practical activities. I did manage to deeply engage with my students as well as boost their grammar retention as well as practical skill. But in doing so, I also might have led them to have anxiety and stress of trying to finish up the game, trying to win the game. Hence, certain teams, certain students in particular, have focused too much on just winning instead of attaining and acquiring the knowledge that I am trying to transmit through this gamification. How about you, Miss Atika?
Okay, thank you, Miss Pauline. So for me, I sort of agree with Miss Rabia, because my students were not really willing to participate in the innovation I have conducted. Why? Because I'm a new person there to them. Who are you? Why are you doing this? Why should I join this activity? Why should I do it? So for me, I think it's more on how willingness, their adaptability, I guess, because due to that, they're not willing to participate as much as I would hope they would. So I think that's all from us. Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Group 1, for such an interesting and innovative sharing. Next, let us welcome Group 4 and their topic of the day, the future-ready classrooms, embracing AI and digital software management.
Good afternoon, everyone, Dr. Maria. Thank you for participating in our seminar today. Before we begin, I will be introducing every handsome gentleman here. I'm the moderator for this session. My name is Harit. To my right is Mr. Aiman. To my left, Mr. Zakwan and Mr. Pyro. So get ready and join us in preparing future-ready classroom, embracing AI and digital software management. As many people are aware, AI stands for artificial intelligence. It wasn't the most advanced technology back in the days, but in the recent years, we can see that AI has becoming very useful and helpful in our daily life. In this seminar, we will be focusing on the context of education in using AI and digital software, also innovative technologies and trends from the insights of our experts here today and what or how they have implemented it during their teaching. We are going to explore the integration of AI and digital software in education, identifying the future trends and innovations, also address the challenges and opportunities that we find in the context of education. So we'll start off with our first panelist here, Mr. Aiman. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Arif, our handsome moderator for today. Okay, so Assalamualaikum and good morning to everyone. So I have but one question to all of you. Did you use any AI and digital tools in your LM? Yes, of course. Because without it, I don't think we could survive any teaching practice. Okay, so AI and digital tools, it's all in the craze today and it is very popular, especially for teachers and pre-service teachers. Okay, so why AI? Why is it so popular and why is it significant? And the most important question, why we must use AI? Okay, first reason, because we can and we should. And the second one, okay, we need to look over two theories, okay? First is the flipped classroom and personalized learning. Anyone ever heard of flipped classroom? Okay, basically flipped classroom, we have traditional class and materials, but we reverse it. For instance, we can deliver the content online outside of class hours, and then during class session, the teachers can focus more on interactive session. So we can save time and make the class more enjoyable. Okay, for instance, digital AI, you can use it to deliver the content online, and you can actually ask AI to provide analytics on the students' performance. So after that, during class session, the teachers and the students can have more interactive, more engaging and collaboration type of class. So it's more engaging for the students. And the second one is the personalized learning. So what exactly is personalized learning? Do you know? Okay, so personalized learning is basically we need to identify each student's ability, learning preference, interest, etc. So that after we have the information, we can actually gauge how we can present our content to them to improve learning outcomes. Okay, for example, how many students in one class? Okay, 30, 39, 32, 40, 90. Okay, 90. And imagine we have 30 plus students in one class and you have to teach 3 to 4 classes in one school. Do you think you can manage to get every individual student's learning needs? Okay, of course cannot. Your feeble mind cannot comprehend all of this. So that's why we have to work smart. Okay, we have to work smart by utilizing AI, and we give AI the students' performance analytics. So AI can suggest resources, learning styles, so we can suit for each individual classes. So that's why we need to highlight the potential of AI and digital software to transform traditional type classes into more engaging and more fun interactive classes. So that would be all from me.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ayman. Let's move on to Mr. Zakwan.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. All right, so I will be talking about benefits of digital tools and AI today. All right, digital tools like Nearpod and Kahoot allow teachers to create interactive lessons that include quizzes, polls, and virtual reality experience. Okay, so have anyone heard about Nearpod? No. How about Kahoot? Kahoot, yes. Okay, so Kahoot is very popular among us, right, as a teacher. Okay, so since you all know about Kahoot already, I will explain to you about Nearpod. Okay, Nearpod is basically the same as Kahoot, but it can create quiz, poll, but additional thing that it can create rather than Kahoot is it can create virtual experience. So imagine you're in a classroom, but you can take your students in a virtual field trip to, for example, Wall of China, the Great Wall of China, for example, using Nearpod. Okay. Um, all right. After that, AI analyzes student performance data to provide actionable insight for teachers. As Mr. Aiman said, AI can help us to identify which student is struggling with specific topics. So it brings us to personalized learning when we can identify the problem with each student. Okay, I think that's all from me.
All right, and lastly, we have Mr. Farouk.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Moderator. So what I want to highlight today is on the challenges of the integration of AI and digital software in education or in the classroom. So I'm sure that all of you have used at least once digital software in your classroom, and I'm sure that there you encounter a lot of challenges in utilizing it. But I'm sure that there is one common thing in the challenges that we that you encounter is the challenges on technical issues. I'm sure, right? All of you encounter technical issues, technical issues like software glitches or corrupted files on Canva files or PowerPoint slides. So when you can encounter this kind of issue, I'm sure that it will disrupt the classroom dynamics, your teaching flows, and then so if you just when you encounter this kind of issue, I'm sure that you will focus more and spend more time on fixing these issues instead of like teaching. Moreover, if you are like started panicking in your own way and spend more time on it. So that's why I think that it is important to have an alternative or backup plan to cover up the issues. So just like when I use when like this is the same thing that I experienced during my teaching practice where I encounter this kind of problem, which is the slides that I've prepared for days, suddenly when I use it in class, half of the slides were missing. So yeah, so when I got to this issue, I panic myself, but I quickly realized and I quickly transitioned from using technology, like using presentation slides into the traditional way of teaching, like using whiteboards, So thankfully that day, I remember what was the content in the missing slides. So I wrote the content on the whiteboard, and then I just continue teaching as if nothing ever happens. So yeah, that was my experience on challenges.
All right, thank you. Looking ahead, there are so many opportunities of AI to be integrated in education. Even today, for example, we have Google Classroom, Kahoot, Quizzes, Quizlet, and all of that. We can see that these digital software are used very frequent in schools nowadays compared to a few years ago. Advancedly speaking, technologies such as VR or AR, virtual reality, or augmented reality can be implemented in classroom in the future. These two technologies, they can manifold and include vocabulary enhancement, immersive learning experiences, and improve listening and speaking skills. And from there on, we can see that AI or digital software being used a lot more in education in the very near future. So let's future ready our classroom and embrace AI and digital software from here today onwards. Thank you. So from anything more from the panelists? No? Okay. So we are open for questions. Anybody have question? Yes, it's up.
Fellow panelists, what are your thoughts on ChatGPT being used as a teaching tool in a classroom environment?
Okay, thank you for the question, Mr. Ishaq. Could you repeat the question again? Sorry.
What are your thoughts on ChatGPT being used as a teaching tool in a classroom setting?
Okay. So my opinion is we definitely should use AI in our teaching because it fits the theme of 21st century learning, and it actually helps pre-service teachers who have low technical skills in terms of how to use the software, because usually AI will provide you with enough directions and easy to comprehend. So if you use AI in teaching tools, you can save time by reducing the amount of time you have to plan the content of your lesson. So any panelists want to add more?
Personally, for me, I think that using AI, using ChatGPT in helping you designing your lesson plans or getting ideas from them. I personally think that sometimes ChatGPT doesn't always provide like correct or relevant information. So when like we as a teacher, as a pre-service teacher, when we fully depends on using ChatGPT in designing our lessons and we blindly follow it, and sometimes it can, or sometimes, but it will surely affect our teachings, and and affects and also impede our students learning as well. So yeah, that's my opinion on this. So is there any other? Yes, betul.
Okay, wonderful. Can we go to something that you say about flipped classroom and personalized learning as an objective introduction?
Significance.
Right, significant of using AI, right? So can you please explain to us how is flipped classroom and personalized learning appearing?
So flipped classroom and personalized learning in terms of teaching in a classroom, it actually one of my go-to materials and tools for me to plan my lesson. Because usually when I plan for my lesson, I need to have some elements of technology and 21st century learning. So usually I use a software such as Canva to make content, but other than that, I need to use the help of AI for me to properly analyze my students' performances. So when I put my test scores, my students' test scores to AI, and the AI calculate their results and their overall performance, I can use that for me to take the next step into integrating differentiating learning strategy in my classroom. So that's how I use my AI tools.
Wonderful way of you telling us about your strategy and the process. How is it that you can make flipped classroom a theory or personalized learning a theory? Is it a theory?
I think it's more towards teaching strategy.
Good.
Yes.
Okay, good. That means you know where you are heading, right?
Yes.
But the word that you use theory is not appropriate.
Okay, yes.
Okay?
I'm sorry about that.
So you know the process.
Uh-huh.
Flipped classroom is a pedagogical approach.
Yes.
Personalized learning is an educational approach. You can have whole classroom, okay? So be very careful on the term activity.
Okay. Thank you, Rhoda.
Okay, I think that is all from us. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, group number 4, for the very exciting talk today. So, next, let us welcome group number 2 and their discussion topic today, reflective seminar, differentiating and personalizing teaching.
All right. Assalamualaikum and good afternoon, everyone. So, as you can see from our poster today, so we would like to discuss about differentiating and personalizing teaching, or known as TPT. So, before that, let me introduce our panelists for today. I am Muhammad Atiq Ashraf as your moderator for today. And then first panelist, we have Miss Christine. Say hello to our audience. Hi. All right. Next, we have Mr. Arnold. Okay, so and last one we have Miss Siti Aisha. Okay, so basically our discussion today will be based on Mr. Arnold's teaching experience during his LM1. So before that, let me ask you something. Is there any of you ever heard about DPT before? No. All right, it's okay. Let me explain it to you. What is DPT? So DPT can be categorized into two components. The first one is the differentiating teaching. So differentiating teaching is modifying strategies and to suit various students group within a classroom. And next one is the personalizing teaching. Personalizing teaching focuses more on the customizing learning experience to suit specific students' needs. So the goal for these strategies is to ensure that each student will achieve their greatest potential. So next, there are a few issues that encountered by Mr. Arnold that led to implement the PT in his class lesson. Okay, the first one is the issue of time management, difficulty with the time management. So by creating and implementing a lesson plan that fits all students may consume a lot of time. So therefore, as a result, it will may not effectively engage, and also it may not satisfy each student's needs. Okay, next issue is the lack of necessary details in the standardized lesson plan. So in the standardized lesson plan, we may encounter like not consider all the different levels of students' prior knowledge, students' interest, So as a result, some students will feel may feel bored, unchallenged, or even they will feel demotivated to focus in class. And last issue is the trial and error approach. So this approach will usually provide irregular and poor educational outcomes. So DPT can offers an approach that more methodical and data driven. So as a result, we can the amount of casing will be reduced and it will provide more productive learning environment. So next, I would like to pass the floor to Ms. Christine to explain more about DPT.
Hello everyone. Thank you, Mr. Ashraf. I am Christine and I will be sharing the objective and methodology for this topic. So now, this topic, the objective of our topic is to show that DPT can create an inclusive and accessible learning environment to develop students' unique learning skills. And also, we want to find ways on how to tackle issues related to implementing DPT in a lesson. Then, we also want to spread an awareness that DPT acknowledges a students' diverse backgrounds and also learning styles. So therefore, every student has the opportunity to succeed, promoting equity and also a sense of belonging in the classroom. Now, moving on to methodology. So this is based on what Mr. Arnold did during his teaching practice for this lesson. Okay, so first, Mr. Arnold gathered data from his previous classes through observation and exit cards to understand his student proficiency levels. Then, Mr. Arnold, based on his observation and analysis of the exit cards, Mr. Arnold grouped the student based on their understandings and needs, the student understanding and needs. Finally, Mr. Arnold tailored tasks and teaching strategies to meet to cater each of the students' needs. So how he did this? Now, Mr. Arnold hand out he did an pop-up realia. So he end out the pop-up realia as a realia worksheets as a to the students to ensure that everyone was engaged and learning at their own pace. Now, DPT, in conclusion, DPT helps students thrive by creating an inclusive and engaging classroom. Reflecting on our methods, it can improve our teaching, and also positively impacts our student. That is all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Christine. So now let's move on to Mr. Arnold to share his experience during LM1.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ashraf. Right. So before I present my findings, okay, so the worksheet realia that I did for the students, it was at first I really didn't know about the differentiating and personalizing teaching. However, after being in the seminar, okay, then I understand that that was actually that it has an element of DPT. Okay, so what I did in short. The realia worksheet, it contains like activities that caters from the pre-lesson until the conclusion. Okay, so each group, I group the students from lower proficiency until the intermediate. Okay, and then in one group, after that, in the realia, it actually like has multiple activities that caters to each proficiency level. So in short, after that, the findings that I found, okay, after doing the intervention, okay, I found out that among 30 students in my 3KRK1 students, okay, I found out that 25 people, 35 students, they were quite happy and quite engaged and satisfied with the lesson, while another 5 of them, they were quite anxious. Okay, they were quite anxious. They were not being, they were feeling out of place. However, they were still learning. Yeah, that's what I heard from them. Okay, and then
looking at their engagement, I can see that it was around 27 of them, they were highly engaged or even engaged during the lesson because it was a group activity. All right. If it was an individual activity, I would bet that most of them would be disengaged. Okay. And then I can say that three of them were quite disengaged because of maybe personal issues or something that they didn't talk to me about. Okay. So, but all in all, I can say that according to the students' feedback, they were quite excited with the lesson and were very satisfied. Okay, next. All right. And then, however, implementing this, I did face a few challenges. Okay. The first one is time constraint because during LM1, I used this during my observation. However, I'm not blaming anyone, but during the time, my supervisor, she came late. So I had to cut a few activities short to make sure everything was settled. Okay. And then, of course, I had difficulties to determine the proficiency level of the students because I was with them for only 2 months. Okay, that is not enough time to know each and every student's proficiency level. However, looking at the key incident, I could see that mixed proficiency grouping, I can see that even the lower proficiency students, they were quite active to participate. Okay, maybe if I have time later, I will show you the reality later. Okay, so thank you very much. I will pass to Ms. Aisha.
Right, thank you, Sano. So I agree with him saying that DPT should always feel natural to both us, the teachers, and the students. So when you mentioned the things about the power of peer learning and the mixed grouping, I remember that I also faced the same issues with my 1A class. So because the time constraint is always an issue, we don't want to spend any unnecessary time, especially on our preparation. So what we have to do is we have to be very selective on the methods, on the tasks, and the materials. Also, when it comes to DPT in 1A classes, whose students are almost everyone is average or advanced. So they were a bit reluctant to work with their 1 week student. What I did was I became selective with the activities, and I stood firmly when I instruct them to do the group work. And just for this 1 week student, I clarify with their group mates what he may do and what they may do. And I pass him around for future lessons too, so that he does not work with just one group. So it turns out to provide opportunities for these students to work. Right. So in conclusion, DPT is not only good for the classroom development, but it's also a great way for you to explore the classroom management and the student's journey. However, every teaching approach has its own advantages and the disadvantages. So how you may counter these issues is that you should reuse the topics, reuse the materials, and reuse the grouping. So DPT is almost our classroom rooms. So we should be confident in implementing the DPT. After all, there is always something that we can the students may gain when we use DPT. Thank you.
Okay, thank you to all panelists for sharing your insights. So now let's move on to our Q&A session. Is there any of you who would like to ask a question? Okay, so our
All right. Okay, so I'm as a pre-civis teacher it's my first time knowing about this approach, right? Is it an approach in the classroom or a theory? Approach. An approach, right? So would you say inexperienced teachers or pre-civis teachers or novice teachers would use this approach in the classroom? But because you mentioned before this, right? Because I would say because you mentioned this approach has its own disadvantages. Do you think like pre-civis teachers with low knowledge or barely any experience are suitable to use this approach in the classroom?
All right, this was actually my point, which was cut off because of the time constraint. So, because I implemented DPT in the activities itself, I provided opportunities for the students to actually work with each other before they flat out reject him before without even a proper reason. So it worked well with them because this is just a trial and error thing. DPT has always been a trial and error thing. We cannot implement it in that way for every lesson. It's not possible. So what we can do is like what I mentioned before. We should be very selective in however way we can. We can do the activities, the materials, and the tasks. So of course, if us being the pre-service teachers who only have 2 months with them, start with the most smallest changes you can do in your classes. So yes, it is possible.
Thank you, Aisha.
Okay, is there any more questions? No? All right. Okay, so that's all for today's discussion. Thank you for listening.
All right, thank you, group number 2, for such an in-depth discussion. Next, allow us to welcome group number 10 and their topic of the day, the role of reflection in ESL pre-service teachers development. Welcome, group 10. Please enter the stage. Good afternoon, Dr. Maria and friends. Thank you for joining us today. So today we're embarking on a journey of transformation in education as we delve into the role of reflection in ESL pre-service teachers development. So I'm Shakina Glory from SMK Buntung, and I'm thrilled to be your moderator for today's seminar. Now, before we delve into our discussion, I'm proud to introduce our exceptional panelists who are poised and ready to share their insights during today's seminar. So firstly, we have Ms. Fairuz from SMI Ad-Dinia. Next, we have Ms. Khairunisa from SMK Pekanbaru. Following, we have Ms. Farahin from SMK Gudang Rasau. And last but certainly not least, we have Ms. Dini Afifa from SMK Kuala Kubu Baru. Now, dear audience, as you listen to our seminar today, we invite you to actively engage with the content. To help facilitate this, we have handed out color papers to each of you. Could you wave your color papers? Yes, thank you. Now, the purpose of these color papers are to help you write your thoughts, your reflections, as you travel with us throughout this seminar. So during the Q&A session at the end, you will have the opportunity to share your thoughts and your reflections with everyone. So we look forward to hearing your valuable contributions. Without further ado, I now invite our first panelist, Ms. Fairuz, to explain on what is reflection. Ms. Fairuz?
All right, thank you very much to our moderator, Ms. Shakina. Today, I'd like to highlight the importance of reflective practice in ESL education. In a recent poll of 64% out of 40 pre-service teachers agreed that reflection is crucial for their development. So, reflective practice is vital for 2 reasons. Firstly, self-examination allows teachers to critically analyze their methods, and it helps them to improve their understanding of their teaching methods and leading to personal and professional growth. Secondly, reflective practice enhances teaching and learning by understanding student diverse needs. Teacher can create a more flexible and effective learning environment. In conclusion, reflective practice is important for teachers in order to foster continuous improvement on the teaching and learning experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fairuz. We now invite our second panelist, Ms. Khairunisa, who will share on the methods for reflection. Ms. Khairunisa? Thank you, Ms. Shekina. Next, I'm going to explain about the methods for reflection. Self and peer observation are useful methods for personal and professional development. Through the process of keeping a self-observation, the teachers or the pre-service teachers can record their learnings, go over them again, and pinpoint any strong or weak points to promote ongoing development. In addition, peer observation entails asking our peers or our mentor teachers to observe and offer helpful criticisms, bringing fresh viewpoints and insights to improve our teaching styles or our performance in class. So these methods provide new insights and it can support our teaching practices, especially the one that we are going to conduct our second teaching practice. So I believe these methods can be useful for all of you to conduct your reflection letter. That's all from me. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Khairunisa. We now invite our third panelist, Ms. Farahin, who will now share on the importance of reflection. Ms. Farahin?
Okay, so thank you, Ms. Shaki. So today I will share with you the importance of reflection. I know that most of us, we felt very, we don't want to do reflection. We don't think it's important to us, but actually it does. So the importance of reflection, the main thing is to identify our strength and weakness. So by doing reflection, we know what works and what's not, because even we as teachers think, oh, this method will work for my students, but actually it's not. So by identifying the strength and weaknesses, then we do an adaptation intervention based on the strength and weakness. Okay, I will just give you an example during my teaching practice. Okay, during my LM1, my students, I discovered that they have difficulties in actually completing tasks because of their lack of vocabularies. They will say that, teacher, I don't know this word, I don't know how to do this because of their lack of vocabularies. So it's actually hinder the learning because they take too much time to complete and even to complete the task. So what did I do? I asked them to use the dictionaries. Does it work? No. My students doesn't know how to use dictionaries. They don't know how to even find the simple words. I know that they are lack of the dictionary skills. Like we are very common to use dictionaries, but not the generation right now. So I know that dictionary doesn't work for my students. So I implement gloss. Gloss, if you are familiar with glossaries is more complicated. It have a specific term. But for gloss, it's more direct. It actually provides the meaning and the words that related with the materials, the lesson materials. So when the students use gloss, they actually have more understanding and it actually helps to capture the problem. So to conclude, you have to actually do reflection to actually identify strength and weakness, and then you can do adaptation and intervention for a better lesson for your students. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Farahin. We now welcome our fourth panelist, Ms. Dini Afifa, who will now share on the challenges and solutions.
Thank you, Ms. Moderator. Implementing reflective practice in SL classroom has several challenges, including lack of time, inadequate exposure to reflective methods, and lack of proper template. I often struggle to sit down and reflect after a lesson during LM due to hectic schedules, limiting opportunities for meaningful reflections that can help me to be a better teacher for my students. So, a practical solution to these challenges is a standardized checklist. This checklist can guide teachers through the reflective process, ensuring that key aspects of their lesson are considered. Teachers can streamline their reflective practice by using this format throughout the lesson and then referring to it while they are writing their reflections, making it more manageable and effective despite the challenges mentioned, and thus further helping in development of ESL pre-service teachers. Thank you from me. That's all from me.
Thank you, Ms. Dini. Thank you, my dear panelists. And I would like to take this opportunity to share
on our topic for today. So, as an ESL pre-service teacher, I have realized the profound impact of reflection in fostering empathy and understanding towards our ESL learners. Now, by reflecting my interactions with my students in classroom, I have been able to understand their diverse backgrounds as well as to learn to understand their learning needs as well. So I would say through this practice of reflection, I have not only been able to have a deeper connection with my students, but I've also been able to tailor my teaching that will help and support my students' growth. And through reflection, I have also seen, we all know that in our class, every student ranges in proficiency levels, right? They are not all from the same proficiency level. So it has helped me to see beyond their language barriers in classroom. And I have been able to create an inclusive classroom environment for my students who range between these varied proficiency levels. So here I would emphasize that reflection has been an instrumental that helps us to develop in our professional growth, and also helps us to enhance in our skills and sensitivity as an educator. So that is all from us. I once again thank you, panelists. We shall now move on to our question and answer segment. As mentioned earlier, we would like to invite a volunteer from the audience to reflect on your teaching practice and within the journey of our seminar today. Can we have a volunteer? Yes, Miss Anis.
Alright, so based on today's sharing, I think I will reflect more on the lesson that will improve my English attitude, and also I will reflect more on how to make my students understand more.
Thank you, Miss Anis. I believe what we have shared here has impacted you as well. Can we have another volunteer from the audience, please? Yes, Ms. Shamala.
Alright, so based on what I think Shubha has shared regarding the empathy and information today, I think reflection is really effective in that way that I can relate to students. Because in my school, I actually talk a lot with the students during break time, which I feel like it's really important. Like the students don't just see us as a teacher, but they're looking at us beyond that. It's about fostering mutual support and like effective learning environment, positive learning environment. It's like guiding the students and like looking at the students, treating them like a family. I would say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Shamala. And I also saw Ms. Shahira, who volunteered as well. We would like to welcome you.
Okay, so from today's seminar, I reflect that even though we teachers have gone through a specific duration of teaching, but it is important for us to do an observation through recording because it will help us to pinpoint of what parts we should improve.
Yes, understood. Yes, thank you very much, Ms. Shahira. Anyone from the audience would like to ask us any question? Yes, Ms. Atika.
I have a question for Ms. Faiz. Considering, based on your experience doing LM1, can you share with us how reflective practice has actually helped you improve or any benefits you see like when you give out instructions during the ESL classroom?
All right, so during my LM1, actually, if I think about how reflective practice have helped me, I have this one particular student during a traditional method using textbook, pen and paper. I noticed this student have difficulty in understanding a concept, which is a grammar concept. So I reflect back on how can I help this student to understand better. So I come up with an idea of using visual aids. So in our school, we have smart TV. So I use that smart TV and give example with pictures and visual. And in the end, the student managed to understand the concept. So I think reflective practice have helped me in this way. Thank you.
Okay, so I would like to add. So during my my LM1, my students, I assigned them into groups. I said that you can choose freely who you want to be,
because usually we understand that, oh, students love to choose their friends to be in their group, right? Like you guys love to choose your own members, right? But it doesn't work for my student. They said, no, they are selective. They don't want me. They don't want me. So I assign them into groups based on their levels. I mix them up, the proficiency one and the lower proficiency one, the higher one. And then, yes, it turns better. My students love that way. They don't want to choose their own members. They don't want anyone to feel left out. They don't want their hard feelings when choosing groups. So it is better for them if I assign. And at the end of the day, they enjoy it better than with their friends. Even someone never speak before, they become friends at the end of my class. So that's how important is reflections to find your strength and weakness. That's all from me.
Thank you, Ms. Farahin. Thank you, Ms. Fairuz. So we have now reached the end of our seminar. We would like to thank the volunteers and the one who asked a question. Thank you for your participation, your engagement, and your dedication throughout this seminar. Let us continue to strive for excellence throughout our teaching practices and our future journey ahead. Till we meet again. Thank you. Thank you very much, group number 10, for your valuable sharings. Next, let us welcome group 9 and their topic of the day, Bridging the Language Gap, Boosting English Competency in Education. Welcome, group number 9.
Thank you, Afi. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and good evening, everyone. Afternoon, everyone. Okay, so welcome to our seminar, Bridging the Language Gap, Boosting English Competency in Education. So, before we begin, let us introduce ourselves. My name is Fatin Sakina. I am the moderator for this seminar, and we have here with me Miss Rina, my friend, Miss Zainurin, and also Miss Khairuniza. Okay, now I would like to ask a question to you guys. How many of you have found your own students after years of teaching, learning English for them, but you find that they are still incompetent in that language? Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Same goes to me. During my LM1, I did in SMK Nilai Impian. The first thing that I asked the teacher for was the results of the students. And especially Form 1 and Form 2, I found most of them are in red marks. Most of them. So this brings the questions of the competency level of our students here in Malaysia. Now, let us delve deeper into the issue of language competency in Malaysia. Here we can see in 2022, more than 50,000 candidates did not pass English. That is 14.3% out of 300,000 candidates in that year. And half of them, according to Amir Faisal and the Malaysian Examination Board itself, in the year 2022 and 2021, more than half of the students in that year did not achieve more than grade C. They all achieve only grade C and below. And comparing this globally, Malaysia ranks 25th out of 113 countries according to the International English Proficiency Index in 2024. So this brings us to the question of how is the language competency here in Malaysia among teachers and students? Okay, so I would like to ask our panel here, Miss Rina, can you please share with us what are the causes of lower English competency here in Malaysia?
All right, thank you. So in my opinion, one of the main factors that contribute to this issue is the lack of exposure to English. So I believe for most of us here, English is not our first language. And the only time that we speak proper English is in the class with our teachers and friends in English classroom, right? Am I right? Yes. So that this happens not to students, but to me as well. So as you all know, we are dominated by our native language, meaning to say we converse in our native language at home. We consume media that is in our native language. So to me, the lack of practice of English outside classroom actually hinders language acquisition. And then not only that, I also think that many parents nowadays do not expose their children early to English. And so the students only start learning English at age of 7, 8, or 8, like that. So I think this actually already put teachers and students at a disadvantage since the very beginning.
I see. Thank you, Ms. Rina. So looking into this issue, I would like to ask Ms. Zainuri, can you please share what are the effects of this issue in Malaysia?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Moderator. So the effects of low competency English among both teachers and students have significant implications on education and various aspects of education and beyond. So first, the effect of the quality of education. Teachers who have low competency English may struggle to actually communicate lessons and instructions, and this will lead to misunderstanding in class. And students, on the other hand, they might have the difficulty to grasp concepts taught in English medium classrooms. And the second effect is on academic performance as well as their language skills development. So poor English competency among teachers can hinder students' development of language skills in English and and potentially in other subjects where English is used as medium. So this is actually related to Stephen Krashen's input theory. Have you heard of it? Yes. So Stephen Krashen in 1985 stated that language acquisition, one of the most crucial element in language acquisition is comprehensible input. So if teachers have low competency English, how are they going to provide comprehensible input to the students, right? So in the long run, this could hinder students' ability to understand and acquire English. And the last effect is on their job and career opportunities. As we all know, English is used widely in various career fields. So students with low English competency may face limited career opportunities as many industries and professionals require good English proficiency.
All right, thank you, Ms. Zainuri. So now that you have understand the effects of this issue, let me ask Ms. Karniza, can you please share with us the solutions to address this issue among teachers and students?
All right, so let us discuss one action strategy that teachers can use to motivate students and improve their learning experience in the classroom. So we talk about the issue of students needing more practice in the classroom, right? So because there is a lack of autonomous learning. So we talk about the issues of the students needing more practice in the classroom. So, but do not worry, we have a solution to mitigate this problem, because Vygotsky has some terrific methods we can try out, like the think, pair, share strategy. So think, pair, share strategy is based on Vygotsky's constructivist theory and focuses on cooperative learning. There are only 3 simple steps in TPS, which are think, pair, and share. Firstly, students think about a topic or an idea individually, then pair up with their partner to discuss together. And then lastly, they discuss or share their knowledge or discussion with the whole classroom. So from there, we can see that TPS promotes students' inclusive learning in the classroom, promotes and engage students and improve their engagement in the classroom. So we did our LM and found out that that TPS increases students' performance, and plus even lower proficiency students who are rarely involved in the classroom join in the strategies and improve their vocabulary. Exciting, right? All right. Other than that, let's have a look at the slide, the points here. So let's talk about the initiative done by the government. So the initiative done by the Education Ministry has implemented initiatives through the English Language Teaching Center, ELTC, with its main objective to involve students or to enhance students' English proficiency with a highly immersive experience. So the highly immersive program HIP, or known as HIP,
creates an immersive English language environment in schools. All right, so let's have a look here from number 1 until 4. There are 4 activities here. So first, the government initiates classroom activities based on project-based learning. Secondly, speakers corner sessions that is usually held outside of regular class. And then additional holiday classes for enjoyable and educational learning experiences. And last but not least, I think we are used to this program when we were in our schools, which is an outreach program such as field trips and pen pal initiatives. Thank you. I see. Thank you, Ms. Kariza, for sharing the solutions that we can all understand and implement in the classroom or the school itself. Now, that is all from our panels. I would like to open the floor to the audience to ask any questions or share any opinions. Yes, Nano?
Okay, alright, so thank you for the sharing. I was kind of interested with Rina's sharing just now. Okay, she mentioned about how native language, the use of native language in everyday life and the exposure of media, okay, it gives like a negative impact to the students' learning. So as pre-service teacher, okay, that, using your experience, how did you manage to share, can you share like how you manage the students to tackle this problem?
Okay, I think this is an interesting question. Thank you. So about media, right? Okay, I always use media as an example or as my teaching material in the classroom. This is because we all know students nowadays are very familiar with TikTok, Instagram, and all that. So what I always do is that I often use songs or videos that they often see on social media, and then from there I will ask them and use that as an example to ask them, what do you see, what is wrong in these phrases, in these lyrics, and then by using materials or media that they are interested in, it will become the students will become more engaged in the teaching and learning session.
Yes, Nadia?
What do you think of switching or using Malay in the class?
Code switching. Okay. So I think I can answer this question. So I did mention about this issue existing among not only students themselves but also teachers. So for me, code switching isn't really encouraged because to me, in my opinion, being an English teacher, you have to be competent in the language itself. So like Lisa mentioned about Vygotsky, and also questions theory about comprehensible input, the exposure of the language itself to the students in the classroom or outside the classroom is crucial for the students to be able to acquire the knowledge and be competent in the language itself. So for me, code switching is not encouraged unless it is used to, no, not encouraged. Not encouraged. Anything else? Okay, if that is all, that marks the end of our seminar. Thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you, Group 9, for such an awe-inspiring talk. Last but not least, let us close our seminar with a final sharing by Group 8 and their topic, 21st Century Education, Technology in Teaching and Learning. Please welcome.
Is this my phone? Yes.
Alright, Assalamualaikum and good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so apparently we are the final group who are going to present. Okay, and today we are here with an interesting topic in which integration of technology in teaching and learning. So here with me today, we have an esteemed panels. So first we have Ms. Nuhazira from SMK Nilai Impian Nilai Negeri Sembilan. Next we have Ms. Nur Shahira from Sekolah Menengah Sains Dungun Terengganu. And next, we also have Miss Nur Fatimatul Nafisa from Sekolah Menengah Agama Sultan Ismail Dungun Terengganu. And last but not least, me, Hanan Hanina from SMK Sultan Ahmad Pekan Pahang. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, allow me to begin. All right, so as for me, I utilize interactive online tools like Kahoot in my teaching and learning as part of technology integrated. Okay, I use Kahoot because from here, we can see that my students had improved so much when I use Kahoot. Because before using Kahoot, the average score of my students was around 40%. So most of them scored 40% with the assessment. But then once I've introduced Kahoot, the average score has rose up to 70%. So from here, we can see that students improve better when we utilize technology-based learning. Okay, so like my student, they enhance better, okay, once we have introduced technology, because Kahoot, for me, is very effective, okay, because of the features we have. Like, for example, one of the features that we have in Kahoot is the reporting features. So I use these reporting features to help me analyze my students' performance. So by doing this, I can understand my students better, know what their weakness and what their strength. So by doing this, it helped me to plan my future lesson so that I can cater and address the learning gaps among my students. All right. So next, let's proceed with Ms. Nohazira with her perspective and idea.
Hello, Assalamualaikum and good evening everyone. During my teaching practice one that I did in SMK Nilai Impian, I had the opportunities to explore both traditional and technology-based teaching and learning. For me, traditional teaching and learning foster good communication and immediate feedback, which helps create strong student and teacher relationship. Meanwhile, for technology-based teaching and learning, I use Canva mostly for my slides and materials. I can see that there's an improvement in engagement and participation from my students. It also promotes a more student-centered environment and enhances understanding for my students. Technology offers flexibility while providing me with abundant resources, and students also can learn at their own pace and choose the materials that suit their styles. While traditional learning is very essential, I think integrating technology in teaching and learning makes education more flexible, engaging, and it can tailor to individual needs. Next, I will pass the mic to the next panelist.
Okay, so hi everyone. I will proceed right away. So in my teaching, I actually use this one application called Genially to integrate technology in my lessons. So I think you have heard of Genially, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay. But my students haven't heard of it before. So it was quite a new thing for them. So despite its initial complexity, I actually appreciate how Genially enhanced not only my technical skill, but also provide versatile benefit for both me and my students. Okay, so for example, through Genially, I once created a digital snack and ladder board game with customizable question as well as reward. As you all know, for conventional snack and ladder board game, we cannot customize it, and we do not have that kind of rewards, right? So through conventional snack and ladder board game, they have to crowd around the board just to see the game, right? But generally, it allows me to showcase the game onto the LCD screen, so students, they get to participate comfortably from their seat. So I believe that these setups not only promotes engagement, but also it helps in achieving lessons objective through full students participation. So as you can see here, I have a bar graph of satisfaction levels with and without technology during lessons. This bar graph has been analyzed from exit ECAPS, and it shows us that at least approximately 57.7%, I did my math, yes, at least 57.7% increase
the satisfaction level among students, where the range of satisfaction ranging from 7 to 9 when I use Genially compared to 4 to 6 without technology. So this shows us that technology indeed has a significant impact on in our classroom. So I will pass to the next panel.
Thank you. Before I start to explain on my part, may I know, have you guys tried quizzes paper mode before? Yeah! Alright, great. Similarly, I also use quizzes paper mode in my reading as well as grammar lessons. For instance, I use it in my present perfect tense class. And I noticed that the students showed a positive reaction and attitude such as higher motivation, higher participation, as well as engagement. For example, when I use quizzes paper mode, the students can actually see the questions while they are answering the questions. So this results to students actually be more excited and eager to get the higher rankings in the leaderboards. On top of that, the students are also showed a better in-class performance when I integrate quizzes paper mode. On top of that, I noticed that not only students can benefit from this, but teachers can also benefit because quizzes provides a detailed analytics and report performance for every student. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miss Nafisa, for the wonderful sharing just now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we wrap things up, we will open the floor for Q&A session. Any question from the floor? Yes, Lisa?
So, what do you guys think about the drawback of using technology despite living in a industrial revolution?
Oh, wow. Okay, drawback or challenges, right? Okay, so allow me to answer the question first. Like for me, I think one of the disadvantage would be students, they do not have the same levels of skill, especially when we're talking about technology. So those students with lower, exposure and lower skills on technology, it might be difficult for them when we introduce technology-based assessment for them. And it would be very, it's not fair if we were to compare this lower skill student with technology to the other advanced students.
In my case, this actually happened in my school. Even though they provided us with, all those technical facility, but it was unfortunate for me because the internet over the area did not cover too much. So I still couldn't use all those fancy technology stuff. So that's one of the drawbacks. I think everyone here at least experienced once in their life. Without internet, you could not use anything.
For me personally, I think the main drawbacks, a general drawback, will be the teachers need an ongoing updates and training when we would like to integrate technology in our teaching and learning. Hence, this actually leads to additional resources and time for teachers who would like to integrate technology.
As for me, I agree with Nafisa's point, and I also like to add that it creates an unequal access for students that didn't have devices or internet at their area. So, is there any more questions?
Okay, yes, Ms. Rabia.
Okay, I wanted to ask, based on technology, it does not have to only be online based, right? So when it comes to schools who does not have technological tools like LCD projectors or Wi-Fi itself, what kind of materials do you recommend to create that technology to bring inside the classroom to make the lesson much more engaging?
Okay, so actually, I'm not sure if you guys know about this, but during my practicum where my supervisor came to observe me, I actually did not have electricity on that day. Wow. So what I learned from hard way is that you should prepare plan B where the material, or we call it as realia, do not use technology, but you can incorporate other stuff like speaker. So that still count as technology. For example, there's this one novel that we used to study a lot called First Fair, right? Previously, I create a mini town of First Fair to help with reading comprehension. So what you can do to incorporate technology in a way you can bring your speaker and use any suitable music background for students to engage more in the lessons. That's why I think. Anyone wants to answer this? No.
Let me add a little more bit to the question just now. Like Shaira using Realia. Okay. Back then during my teaching practice, I also used Realia, snake and ladder. Okay. I actually bought a giant dice on Shopee. It cost me 18 ringgit. I remember. Okay, I have to spend. Okay, I bought that for my teaching practice, and we had that activity in classroom. So I consider that one as a technology-based activity. So the map, I draw it on whiteboard, okay, to replace LCD because my school it's a very small school. Okay, we don't have LCD. We have to like bring our own. I borrowed my sister from Selangor, the LCD for teaching. Okay, so we as teacher we have to be creative. Use whatever material, colored paper, whatever resources we have to make sure that our students they get the lesson for integrated with technology. All right. Okay. So thank you everyone for your wonderful questions and insight. So I guess that's the end of our sharing session. Let's bounce back to our wonderful MC, Miss Wafi. Thank you everyone.
Good job, everyone. Okay. Thank you, Group 8, for a wonderful sharing session. We have now reached the end of our seminar. And I am sure that all of us have learned a lot from our discussions today. But before we proceed to the closing of our seminar, I would like to invite Dr. Maria Shuhongbi onto the podium again to share with us her thoughts on today's discussion. Please welcome Dr. Maria.
Before I go into that, can you look at all the posters again?
Sorry, Doctor?
Can you share with us all the groups posters presentation? Are we still online? I think I've shared in our group regarding the fine line between differentiator
Then we can see there is quite a lot of. Thank you, everyone. I like to put away my critical eye on my creative eye because I'm not mistaken. I think if you look at I think if you look at Fat Alert, there was some details on post presentation. Okay, some of you had presented many, but the content of enough to support. And given the time given to you, I would expect I would expect some to really but right? Okay. Very rightly use it appropriately. So what is theory? What is methodology? What is and also when it comes to information, my students are very much engrossed in family. I think what you really want native language, then we are allowing translation indigenous with the inspiration dialects, right? Last but not least, the last presentation was talking about technology. I think I've mentioned that in our lecture regarding when you whether whether it's into instruction, it's already but when you always see you are actually pointing okay ICT materials, ICT tools. But let's say, for example, like I was a Christian, if you do not have all these things, what do you do? Is processing if you use paper. Again, using a module paper is only
more creative, technological way of looking into it. Like we know, mahjong people is a way of to replace the online whiteboard, right? But if you can turn a mahjong paper into something you can game, yeah, if you turn into gamification with the mahjong paper as a tool for them to do something on the mahjong paper, turn the mahjong paper into a fun learning activity, then the mahjong paper does not only mean it's a tool for you to just for note taking, for sharing notes. So please have a broader mind in terms of technology. Okay. With that, I think thank you very much for coming here today and to have this seminar and to reflect. And I'm so sad that is the closing ceremony, but I have to say that you keep your time very well. So on the whole, congratulations everybody, and I think I declare the ceremony closed. Thank you.
Actually, before we finish the seminar, we actually have a very small token of appreciation. And thank you for being a very wonderful lecturer to us and for coming to see our sharing session today.
You know.
And my heartfelt thanks to our distinguished speakers, the whole class of Group F, and of course to Dr. Maria Shimonggi as well for sharing their expertise. Each of us has the power to make a meaningful impact. And before we end, let us take a picture to commemorate our event today. Okay, what if like everyone just stay in their place and just create.